Don't assume that people with no wealth status or resources have nothing to offer you. There is so much more to relationships than those commodities. There is true connection, care, and affection that we might be missing out on if we only pursue social climbing behavior. Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. My name is Caitlin and I run the blog called Mrs. Midwest. Today we are going to be unpacking the very interesting topic of unladylike behavior. Now, acting ladylike is not for every woman, nor do I believe every woman must be ladylike. But the truth is that there is a large group of women here on the internet on my channel who are interested in this topic. We love talking about elegance, classy behavior, and just how to be ladylike. You could kind of say it's our hobby. So today this video is for women who are interested in acting ladylike. It's not saying every woman has to be ladylike. And now that we've got that cleared up, I do want to introduce this video with some reasons why ladylike behavior is so valuable in my opinion. First of all, it definitely helps your relationships. It helps you keep a nice standard of treatment in your relationships where you communicate respect and care to other people, but also in such a way that you respect and care for yourself within those relationships. It can benefit your public interactions. It can keep a kind of nice boundary between you and strangers. And also it can help your professional career. At the heart of being ladylike, you have a set of standards and behaviors that reflect femininity, professionalism, social refinement, elegance, and maturity. So the first area of unladylike behavior that I want to unpack today is the idea of dominating conversations. Dialogue is about giving and receiving. It's not just about speaking at somebody. It's about learning from them and connecting with them. And the thing is, you can't connect with somebody if it's all you doing the talking the entire time. So as you approach your dialogues with people, try to pay attention to how much you're listening and how much you're speaking. This doesn't mean you can't tell stories ever. It doesn't mean you can't answer questions. It doesn't mean you can't participate in the dialogue. It just means that you need to be aware of what you're communicating to that person. And when you're not listening, when you're taking over the whole dialogue, it does communicate a lack of interest in connecting with them because it shows that you're not really interested in learning about them or hearing their opinions. Again, you can tell stories, you can answer questions, you can fully participate in the dialogue. In fact, I think it can be also unladylike when we completely cut ourselves off from communication, when we fail to open ourselves up and allow people to connect with us by telling stories and answering questions in a fleshed out way. So as you communicate, remember, we might fall on different sides of that spectrum. You might err towards dominating your dialogues, or you might be more like me, where you didn't participate enough. So try to find that sweet spot in the middle where you're present, you're connecting, but you're also listening. So let's dive into the second area of unladylike behavior mistakes that you might be making. This one is chronic messiness. Now, I used to be very messy, but as you can tell, I like to keep a clean home. This is not natural to me, but it is something I have worked on because I have realized that the messier I was in life, the less it showed respect, not only for myself, but also the people I was living with. A lady is mature, she takes care of her responsibilities, and she respects other people. Therefore, she should take care of the responsibility of her nest. Now, you might not have a home, but your nest is wherever you live, a dorm room, a bedroom, an apartment, condo, a trailer, it does not matter. You can make it ladylike by keeping it tidy. I added the word chronic, however, before messiness because we all have messy times in life, and I do believe grace should be given to yourself and other people regarding the messes in our homes and lives. But having chronic messiness is different than having an unkempt day. It's about having a messy purse, a messy car, dirty dishes in the sink constantly, dirty laundry all over the house, and just dirt mess, clutter, everything everywhere. That is not ladylike. As you move towards social refinement, it's important to remember that we don't just put on a show as ladies. You are only as much of a lady as you are behind closed doors in your own house. So try to take that ladylike social refinement you desire so much to put out into the world and put it into your own home. Remember that we want to do this for ourselves ultimately, so that we can enhance our lives. And you will enhance your life by keeping your space as tidy as possible and building habits into your life to enhance cleanliness. Again, this can be even just in your purse, your car, your cubicle, your office, your desk, places that you're in charge of. Delegate time to make sure that you're keeping those things tidy. Again, this shows respect for yourself and anyone who has to encounter those spaces. Right. The third area of unladylike behavior mistakes you might be making is all about social climbing. And social climbing behavior, well, what is it? It's essentially when you value or prioritize people who can give you wealth, status, or resources over those who have nothing to offer you. Examples of this would be seeking out relationships with people primarily based on what they can give you versus the actual connection that you can build with that person. Now, social climbing behavior is not just for those in Hollywood, the celebrities, the royals. There are social hierarchies everywhere. You have one at your local water cooler at your work, you have one in your small town, your high school, your university, your sorority, whatever you're dealing with, there is probably a social hierarchy. And there is always the opportunity to do social climbing behavior. But I would argue that it is not ladylike because, again, ladylike behavior is about respecting everybody. The problem with this is not only does it disrespect people who have nothing to offer you, but you also miss out on connection with wonderful, diverse people or even vulnerable people such as the elderly, little kids, people with disabilities, or volunteer opportunities. A lady treats everybody with respect, and it is simply not respectful, first of all, to look down on people who have nothing to offer you, but also to use people for their wealth, status, or resources. If you are only seeking out relationships with people based on what they can give you, you're essentially using those people, and they don't deserve that either. However, I will say on the flip side of this, I have seen a sort of twisted altruism in people who, instead of valuing people who can give them things, they might be prejudiced against people with more wealth, status, and resources and prefer the company of people who have nothing to offer them. I don't think either of these tendencies is ladylike or healthy. I think that we should treat all people with respect, whether they have less than us or more than us. We should always go into interactions with an open mind, free from prejudice, and allow people to create their own reputation with us one-on-one. So as you go about your social circles, try to monitor your own intentions. I have been guilty of this in the past as well, trying to form relationships with people based on what they could give me. And again, that is disrespectful to those people, but also to myself, because ladylike behavior does focus on that feminine maturity. And a mature woman does understand that relationships should be built on so much more than what someone can give you. They should be built on true affection, trust, love, mutual interests, and a desire to connect and enjoy life together. So, as you approach life, if you notice yourself acting a little social climby, even if it is just in your small little work environment, try to correct that behavior and remember that people are not commodities. We should not seek out relationships based on what they could give us. We should not be prejudiced against people based on what they should give us. And the same goes for those who have nothing to offer as well. Also, I will have to say, don't assume that people with no wealth, status, or resources have nothing to offer you. There is so much more to relationships than those commodities. There is true connection, care, and affection that we might be missing out on if we only pursue social climbing behavior. All right, this unladylike behavior I am so guilty of, and it is slouching. I fight it all the time, but I have a tendency to just want to curl in on myself. And I've spoken about this before on my channel, but sometimes when you have like a heavier chest, it's your instinct to curl in on yourself and hide it. First of all, it takes away from your attractiveness. And ladylike behavior, again, is in enhancing that elegance. And when you enhance your elegance, you want to enhance your attractiveness. And attractiveness is much more than sexual appeal. It's about attracting people to you. And as we enhance that elegance and attractiveness, we're going to want to remember posture. And you will always look more attractive with proper posture than you will slouching. A great example of this in the celebrity world is Taylor Swift. She is a beautiful woman. She has the world at her fingertips, but she is very guilty of slouching, and it takes away from her overall attractiveness and elegance. So as we approach ladylike behavior in the wild, try to keep your shoulders back, keep your posture elevated, and you will feel and look much more ladylike. Again, this is not a morality thing. It's not life or death. It's not even a condemnation on those people who like to slouch. It's merely a little bit of advice from me to you to whisper in your ear and let you know a great way to easily increase your attractiveness and your elegance is to stop slouching. All right, the fifth and final area of unladylike behavior mistakes that you might be making is excessive lateness. Why is lateness and tardiness so unladylike? Now, this is cultural. Your culture might be more accepting of lateness, but in typical Western social situations, lateness is a sign of disrespect. And why? Well, we have the commodity, the resource of time. And when someone makes time for you or with you and you agree upon that time, when you're constantly late, you're showing that you don't respect that person's time. But also, there's another level to this of failing to respect yourself. Because when you say that you're going to arrive at a certain time, and you fail to, and you repeat this behavior constantly, showing that you don't stick to your word. It's important to have personal integrity if you want to show yourself as a lady. So one of the best things to do is to be very honest with yourself about how much time it takes you to get places, how much time it takes in the morning. There is a huge difference between intending and trying to get somewhere on time and encountering something such as a traffic accident or something completely outside of your control. But then lateness that is inside of your control. Staying up too late and getting up too late, taking too much time in the morning, lazing around on your phone instead of getting ready for the evening with your friends. And try to remember too that just because someone is a close relation to you, like a husband, a girlfriend, a mother, it doesn't mean that you can be late with that person just because they're close in relationship to you. You should keep a standard of respect with everybody. The person who's going to interview you for a new job, or your husband or mother that you agreed to meet with for lunch. I have been very guilty of excessive lateness in the past, and I think ultimately it has boiled down to my own selfishness, feeling like my time was more valuable than the other person's time, and also not putting myself in the person's shoes of what it feels like to sit at a restaurant or a coffee shop waiting for your friend and wondering where they are. So as you approach life, you don't have to be so crazy. It doesn't have to be down to the minute. But if you're really disrespecting people's times, you're going to come across as very unladylike. Again, that's not elegant. It doesn't respect other people. And again, yes, this tip, as probably with all my other tips, could apply to men and women, people who don't want to be ladylike, etc. You can be a man, you can be a woman living your life in the world and not do these things and still be a man and a woman. But you can't be ladylike. Again, we can quantify what is ladylike and what isn't, and it does come down to those social expectations, your culture, and really it's about showing that elegant maturity. So that is all I have for you today, but fear not, we are going to have a part 2 of unladylike behavior coming out in a few days on Friday. I hope that you tune in. I could not put all of my thoughts into one video, so we are going to do a part 2, more unladylike behavior. We're going to be talking about the internet, how we treat people, all of that, and it's going to be fantastic. But in the meantime, I would love to hear some of your ideas below. For any of my hobbyists like myself who love to discuss elegance, social refinement, and the like, leave your comments below about what you feel is particularly unladylike behavior, and let the discussions begin. There is so much we could talk about, and I also think some things are very cultural. So if you're from a different culture, what's unladylike in your culture? I would love to know. In the meantime though, look out for my next video on this topic. If you liked the video, please do click that like button. It does help grow our community. If you haven't yet, join the feminine family by subscribing. Check out my written blog in the links below. Follow me on Instagram. I've left my handle up for the video, but in total, I hope you have a wonderfully blessed and ladylike week, my beautiful sisters.